We talking New York Jets. Come on now. We live,
Theme song
baby.
always gets me hype. Always
Yeah,
gets me hype.
I love it. I need to get like a 3-minute version of that song and just add it to my playlist. Yo, it is Take Flight Talk. It is your boys, James Wudi, Michael K in the building. Abby, she could not make it today. Shout out to the to Arizona. I know it was a tough night. Caleb
Dropping
Love.
back to back.
Yo, yeah. What's going on? What's going on after not losing all season? But we're not here, we're not here to judge. We are here. Well, actually, we are here to judge, but we judging the Jets.
Yes,
Okay.
only Jets.
And that's actually exactly what we're about to do. We or Aaron Glenn rather fired a whole bunch of people. It just turned around. You fired. You fired. You fired. It's the exact opposite of the Oprah where she was giving out cars. That
Yep.
was exciting. But this was nerve wracking. But he's made some hires. He's made some hires, and we are set to look at said hires. I mean, some of them have been coming in, right? But now officially the new staff, the AG staff 2.0 has been established. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it up here on time. So while I'm looking to see if I can get it up, pause. Michael, talk to us. Talk to us about your thoughts on the 2026 New York Jets coaching staff.
Well, I think first, I think just compared to last year's staff, like the first staff Glenn put together versus this year, I think any fan should agree that it's definitely an improvement. Like it's definitely an upgrade. But I think the biggest thing that I see a lot of fans talking about, and I honestly fall on the same boat is if he built the same exact staff and kept Tanner Engstrand, I think a lot of us fans would be a lot more confident going into the season. But the whole idea of firing Tanner Engstrand and letting him go, and it's like there's a couple pieces on the staff that I actually really like. Like I understand Frank Reich hasn't had success recently in the NFL. I understand Bill Musgrave, was the QB coach of the Browns. Maybe their quarterback room obviously wasn't the greatest, but he clearly took a different approach this offseason where, we're not going to go first year guys, like majority at least. We're going to go experience actually. My favorite hire easily was the Carl Dunbar one, the D line coach. I mean, coming back to New York, he was huge for our development of our D line, when he was here. And you look at Steelers, Cam Hayward gave him credit for his development. You look at guys like TJ Watt and everything. So I think for a team like us that struggled with sacks and everything last year, getting a D line coach like that is huge. We also took the Steelers tight end coach, Alfredo Roberts. So I think I like that one. And then my favorite hiring on defense by far was the Ben Rawling one, the linebacker coach from the Texans. I
Mm.
mean, you look at Shahir or whatever, that the guy from Texans, he had amazing. You look at that Texans defense, every single guy in that defense, ball hawk. You got 11 guys by the ball every single play, and that's obviously not just credit to one coach, just the linebacker coach. Obviously, he was the assistant linebacker coach there, but you get coaches like that from good teams like the Texans, who they were known for their defense. Like you can argue their defense carried them, and if Stroud doesn't throw those 4 picks, I think they actually could have been a Super Bowl team. So that was
Definitely.
definitely my favorite hire on defense. But I will say, because like I was on and I still am, like I wanted Glenn fired, and I don't think it was smart bringing him back, and I think it's going to put us back even further. But as fans, we have to accept he's coming back for at least one more year, and I can at least respect the fact that this season he's taking over play calling on defense. So now, if anything goes wrong on defense, it's going to go straight on his shoulders, which I think he understands. And I actually do feel like I think he built a better defensive staff than offensive. And I think part of that is also since he's going to be the defensive play caller, he has more trust in himself. So I actually think the pieces on defense are set up coaching wise for us to hopefully see a huge improvement for how bad we were last year. I think offense, it's too hard to sit here and say what to expect knowing we don't even have a quarterback yet. But I will say the experience thing is something I like, but it's also, the NFL is you can't just bank on experience. You also have to have success. So it's kind of like a wait and see thing for me. But I do really like the hire, obviously, of Seth Ryan too. I think obviously the whole Rex Ryan stuff, the Ryan family, and I do think he's obviously a young mind in the game. So I hope he could bring some variation to Frank Reich's old style of offense. But like I said, it's kind of a wait and see thing. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you started with saying I don't know how any Jets fan can look at this and not see improvement. I would have to wholeheartedly agree. Let me get out my pen right now and co-sign that statement. Because there's definitely improvement. As you also said, that I wholeheartedly agree with, is that AG should not be the coach. Like if it was up to me, like he would have been long gone. We would have, had anybody else in here. But we had to accept, and what's made it easier to accept is some of the hires. Frank Reich. When they first mentioned him, they were talking about him as an advisor, and Engstrand still kept his job, and I thought that was great. Frank Reich, former quarterback, he's had success, just not recently. Like the Panthers, that run was not good, but literally directly before that, as a head coach of the Colts, I mean, he was taking a ragtag bunch of guys, two playoff appearances in 4 years, which you might scoff at that, but if you're watching the show, you're a Jets fan, so look at your
team.
team.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, come on now. Almost give up my firstborn for that. Just for a playoff appearance. So I respect him. I respect his experience. I respect his mind. And I think that would have been a really good blend of old school, new school, because Tanner is clearly new school. But based on what all the beat reporters say, they was going to take play calling. They were going to take too much, where it seemed like Tanner was like, "Oh, I'm out," more than like, "Oh, you're fired." It was like, "You're demoted," and Tanner was like, "All right, fuck this," and then went to where do you? I forgot. Oh, the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is super. Bijan having a lot of fun over there.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I actually love the Bill Musgrave hire. It's another former QB, and the list of QBs he's worked with. I mean, Michael Vick, Matt Ryan, Derek Carr. Right, those are like all the big ones. There are more when you go down the line, like Nick Foles. He was there in Philly, and Matt Schaub, who no one's put in the Hall of Fame, but he made it to the playoffs. He was feeding DeAndre for a couple of years, so he's a good coach, and that's probably the biggest upgrade from last year to this year. Is we had Charles London. They've been roasting him in the Jet circles, talking about he'd been a running back coach until like 4 years ago, which is the truth. That's the case. Musgrave, he is a QB. He knows personally what it's like to be out there. So I think that's super valuable. And again, the resume of people he worked with. I know you can argue right now, but the Browns the last 3 years, he was not the QB coach of the Browns until this year. He was on some special assistant ish or senior assistant ish. For all we know, he was phoning in. He was in the break room eating Funyuns. Just be like, "Yo, Bill, can you answer this question?" He was like,
Hey, Shadur did make a Pro Bowl this year.
And that's what I'm saying. The 1 year that he is the QB of the team, now all of a sudden they got 1.5 because Flacco was on the team for half a year. They got 1.5 QBs made the Pro Bowl. Even Dylan Gabriel, who we can all agree universally is not great, had great moments, including on us, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I'm actually, that's, if I had to highlight one on offense that I'm most excited about, definitely him. Carl Dunbar, let me co-sign that, everything that you said. Fantastic hiring. there. Let me look at this again. Yeah, Dookie. I wasn't. And yeah, he gonna get that name until further notice. Uh, you know, I wasn't hyped on him. But of course, like you said, given that Aaron Glenn is calling the plays, that's why he did that, right? He just put some stooge in there so that he could just say, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir," and just do whatever Aaron Glenn wants. The problem with that, if you're a Jet fan and you want to win games, is that these are Aaron Glenn's fingers. As a play caller, he's pretty cheeks. He is pretty cheeks. So
we're banking on a lot of hope going into this year,
Yeah,
hoping coaches they didn't have recent success. We're just gonna hope it randomly turns. Glenn has recent success play calling. We're just gonna hope it magically turns.
Damn, actually, when you put it like that, yeah, that's actually pretty crazy. Yeah, because that is what we're doing with damn. Well, okay. Well, we all have fingers, right? So let's just cross them. See.
That's all we can do,
But a really big piece of this puzzle is the quarterback. Like we literally do not have one. And I'll say what I think. Myself and Aaron Glenn probably have two different goals with this season. He trying to keep his job. Let me not say that because that makes it sound like I don't want to. Like, obviously, the goal every year is to make the Super Bowl. That would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, given the probability of that happening, I'm looking more long term than Aaron Glenn is probably looking. So if I'm Aaron Glenn, the only name on my list is Kyler Murray. That's the only one.
Hey, let me call on that one.
He's getting so disrespected. I love, you out here trying to on IG. I seen the post trying to educate these ignorant people. What are you? I don't understand what you're hating on. And then those same people open up their mouth and say Malik Willis. Somebody who played 4 games.
Oh my God, no.
So it's crazy. But if I'm Aaron Glenn, that is a choice. I have no idea who's second because whoever's second is such a steep drop that it doesn't. Now you're back. You might as well just play Fields again. That's how big the drop is. If you're me and you're talking about, avoiding being the bottom of the barrel now and drafting a QB in 2027, Kirk Cousins. Well, low key, Derek Carr was actually was literally the tippy top of the list. Then he said, "Oh, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl." So
we're off the picture.
Yeah. But then Kirk Cousins, and there's a lot of guys like this. The list doesn't stop at Kirk Cousins. To a much lesser extent, Marcus Mariota. To an even lesser extent, Jacoby Brissett. But when I say lesser, it's not that I'm saying that Jacoby is way worse than those guys. But he is just not the outward mentor. I feel like Kirk Cousins would be going out of his way to work with the young QB and just teach him, make sure the offense is in good hands once he's done, running the squad. Because I would imagine he'd be QB1 this year and go into the next year in a battle for QB. And if he won that job, he would still be helping. That's what he literally just did that. We know that for a fact. Jacoby, there's no history of that. With Mariota, there is history of that. But his protege, the person he was doing that with, Desmond Ridder, is out the league. So that's why I say
not a good track record.
Yeah. And there's definitely other guys too that I just can't think of right this second. But that is definitely where I would go. Kirk, they're saying Kirk might go back to Minnesota because they got another kid right there that needs some development. And he loves it so much. His wife loves it. They were locked into that community.
Mm-hmm.
So if Kirk is not an option, I'm definitely looking at like a Mariota type situation. But there's definitely someone in between Kirk and Mariota who I'm not thinking of right now. But if it comes to me, I will say it after you're done.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I made that video obviously of Kyler Murray. I just don't understand the whole outcry against Kyler Murray. Like, I feel like people are so honed into his off the field stuff. Like, he was huge, like in the streaming world, I guess, and like
Mm-hmm.
he had that whole COD thing about playing video games. But like, I mean, we're talking football at the end of the day, right? Like, we're talking, the stats speak for themselves. And as Jet fans, we kind of went through this last year before we traded Sauce. The whole offseason, Sauce was on these streams, partnering with like beat ups and everything. And everyone was kind of like, is his head where it needs to be? And then he came out this season and everyone was kind of like, it looks like he might have regressed a little bit, like questioning his commitment to football, which, as fans, I feel like that's obviously a normal thing. Like, you want these dudes to put 100% towards the sport, but you also understand that just because they're in the NFL doesn't mean that their life is 100% football. So I understand that line, and it's like I'm not going to question, another man for trying to go like, open a different door to like streaming or something. As long as at the end of the day he's getting the job done. And from what I've watched, Kyler Murray has gotten the job done with the pieces he had, with the O line he had, with the receiving core, everything considered, injuries he battled, all that stuff. Yeah, there's moments where he was towards the bottom where I was like, all right, what's going on here. But then there's flashes where he put up a 28 TD, 10 picks season, that like 800 rush yards. Like that's the Kyler Murray that you hope to get out of, and he's still so young, and he's only been with the Cardinals. So this isn't like a Sam Darnold situation where you try 4 teams and he hit on this one. He's been in one spot, so that change of scenery could just take one team. And I could like just watching clips of him last year after he got quote unquote hurt, which I still am convinced he just got benched and it was more of stay on, the IR. I
Mm-hmm.
am fully convinced watching clips of him talk. It was like I compare it to like Luis Robert for baseball since I'm a Mets fan, obviously. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could tell Luis Robert did not want to play for the White Sox. And his only good month last year was right before the trade deadline because he was trying to get traded. And then after that, it kind of went back. Like when dudes get locked into their head that they do not want to be at a spot, it does change the way they play. And I do feel like this last year, especially Kyler Murray, did not want to be there anymore. And I think a change of scenery would be huge for him. And something that I think would be, motivating for a Jet fan is Bill Musgrave is I think his last year coaching Mike Vick. That was Mike Vick's. He had 1,000-yard rush season, and I'm obviously Kyler Murray, Michael Vick, completely different players. But someone like Kyler Murray, it's not crazy to say that they could reach 1,000 rush yards, right? And I know we said the same thing about Fields, but Kyler Murray's proven he can throw the football. There's not been those questions of he can't read a defense. We've seen him put up 3,500 pass yard seasons. We've seen him put up 3,800 pass yard seasons. Like his completion rate every year has damn near been 65 plus, which is damn near towards the top of the league. So I just don't understand as Jet fans how we can like fans are sitting up here coming against us being like, yeah, Kyler Murray's like it's a joke that you're even mentioning that name. But then you're gonna talk about guys like Mac Jones and Malik. Like, it's not disrespect to those guys, but Kyler Murray has had pretty good success in my opinion for a 5 6 year stretch. Malik Willis has had success for 4 or 5 games. Mac Jones looks good under one of the best coaches in NFL. Like you're not comparing the situation the way it should be. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the same thing as you. Is Kyler Murray's where my eyes are set for QB, and if you're not going to go that route, then I would probably maybe settle with like Kirk Cousins because if you're not going to go the young route of change of scenery, we're like Kyler Murray's young. I think he's got a couple good years left, obviously. Like that's not like that in my opinion. Kyler Murray you could use not as a bridge quarterback. Like that could actually be someone who can make you a competitive team. If you're not going to go that route and you want to go bridge quarterback for a rookie in 2027 or even this year, I think Kirk Cousins would be perfect. I mean, he's a leader. His teammates buy into him. Like this is public stuff. You saw it with the Vikings. You even see it with the Falcons with Penix and everything. So for me, it's really Kirk Cousins and then Kyler Murray. But I do think if we were to draft someone this year, I mean, Ty Simpson, I think would be a nice one to sit behind either one of those guys. I just don't know how realistic that is because I don't want to waste. He's not worth going 2 at all, and he's not worth going 16. Maybe 33 if he falls to there. And then if he's gone, someone like Garrett Nussmeier, who's also shown great flashes, has just been kind of pushed back with injuries. But I just find it crazy, like, especially Jet fans are talking about free agent quarterbacks. It's like, I don't know what Kyler Murray did to these fans to make them like despise this man, but I mean the stats speak for themselves, right? Like we're sitting here trying to talk about quarterbacks, but look at our quarterbacks the last, since I've been a fan. Like Kyler Murray's down year has been a top 5 year in my fandom as a Jet fan. So yes, I'm gonna want someone like Kyler Murray because that's what we've been used to. I've watched 5 games of Fields throw under 50 pass yards. Like I will take Kyler Murray in the snap of a finger.
Yeah, it's not even a question any year. And honestly, I feel that way. There was Derek Carr slander, and I said, "Yo, literally Google his stats. Any year of Derek Carr would be the best season in New York Jets history."
That's what I'm saying. We're like Jet fans trying to evaluate a quarterback. Like you have to come at it from the perspective of we are Jet fans. Like this is what we're used to. You're talking like we're not just gonna get some Lamar Jackson quarterback tomorrow. Like that's just not happening. Like, you have to be realistic of where our team's been. Anything right now, even Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, like any of these guys, Derek Carr off a year of not playing or whatever with a messed up shoulder is a huge, huge, huge improvement from Justin Fields and Brady Cook. Yes. Like, that's not even a question.
Facts. And we hoping, I'm hoping that we can draft, the Lamar Allen or Burr, whoever your guy is in the league, trying to draft him this next year. Like this is a chance, in my opinion. This is a chance to finally end it. And I know, we had the 3rd overall pick, we had the 2nd overall pick. Well, for me, I would have never used that 2nd overall pick on a draft pick. I would have traded it down. Now, in hindsight, everybody, agreeing with me, but back then.
No.
I don't know. Y'all were seeing ghosts. But the 3rd overall pick we just didn't build. But now, we have a team. We have an offensive line. We have a wide receiver 1, running back 1. We gonna figure that out. And we have a better infrastructure right now. Strike while the iron's hot. Get that QB. We kind of ran out of time, but real quick. Few sentences. I'll make mine super quick. Breece Hall, I am overpaying him to an extension. I don't think he is he wants to be here, but I don't think he hates us. I don't think he's I'm not gonna be a Jet. But I think he is trying to try this, open market and be like, yo, if the Chiefs offer me a great deal, I'm out. Whoever the Cowboys offer me a great deal, I'm out. So if I'm the Jets, overpay this dude. 3 years, 36, 39. I would be willing to give him 30 a year and get that deal done, overpay him to keep him on the squad.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Personally, I think the Jets should use the transition tag on him, let him test free agency, but obviously transition tag, you could match any offer. So if I'm the Jets, any offer Breece Hall gets, it's at least $2-3 mil plus on that because the QB or the running back class this draft, one of the weaker ones in my opinion these last couple of years. Even the running backs going to free agency, not the best. I know maybe Swift might leave the Bears, but Breece Hall has been nothing but amazing for the Jets. And with how bad our offense has been these last couple of years, the fact that he shows up every single day, every single game, I know he had some fumbling problems last year. You could talk about effort maybe, but the stats should show up for themselves, right? This is not let's not overthink this one. You cannot let this man walk out the door. If you're really serious about turning this franchise around, that is someone you need in the backfield to help that quarterback. So I'm in the same boat. Overpay him. I don't care. Do not let Breece leave New York.
And he's only 24. I think that's so underrated. There are some, cute name. Kenneth Walker, is a free agent. He did a lot for his stock during the playoffs. But, he's older than Breece. He's the youngest yet most experienced person in the market. That he is still a baby. I think his best years are still ahead of him, and that's a big deal. So 100% agree. 100% appreciate you guys watching this episode of Take Flight talking about the staff. Let us know in the comments what you think about the staff, what you think about the QB. Tell us if you're like everybody else and a Kyler Murray hater. Tell me what you like, but don't use COD or his height. Can you do that? Can you talk about football? Can you talk about X's and O's? Let's see. And then, of course, let us know about Breece. We took flight. He took flight. We'll see you next time.